Hi, and welcome to another edition of Your Health with Dr. Christy. My name's Dr. Christy Reisinger, and today I'm continuing my Costco series, but today we're going to talk about cough and cold medications. I remember during my residency, I was so confused about all the different cough and cold medications until I realized there are essentially 4 ingredients in every cough and cold medication, up to 4 ingredients in every cough and cold medication. And once I realized that, it helped me figure out what I needed for each particular time. So the first ingredient that some cough and cold medications have is acetaminophen or Tylenol. And I don't love that cough and cold medications include acetaminophen or Tylenol or any pain reliever, because I feel like that's how sometimes patients get into trouble, by taking too much acetaminophen or Tylenol. If you're taking a cough and cold medication, it may have acetaminophen or Tylenol or any other type of pain reliever in it. Okay, the next class of medication is a cough suppressant, and the most common medication that you'll see is something called dextromethorphan. So if you need something to calm a cough, the most common ingredient that you'll see is dextromethorphan. Okay, the next class is an antihistamine, which is like Benadryl, but it can have a lot of different names. It can have a name called diphenhydramine, chlorpheniramine, or doxylamine. And they're all essentially the same thing. They're antihistamines that are sedating. So if you need to dry out your runny nose, or if you need something to help you sleep, you can look for one of those ingredients in your cough and cold medication. Next is an expectorant. An expectorant will help loosen your secretions and help you get things out, like if you're really congested in your chest. And the main ingredient is called guaifenesin, or what you see in Mucinex. So look for that if you really need to get the mucus out of your nose or your chest. But be sure that you're drinking a lot of fluid as well, because that also helps. And finally, the last ingredient is a nasal decongestant. And there are 2 main nasal decongestants. The first is phenylephrine, which is, I think, essentially useless. And the next is pseudoephedrine. Now, pseudoephedrine is a great decongestant, but you have to talk to the pharmacist and get it from behind the counter. You have to show your driver's license. So if you're getting something just off the shelf that has a decongestant in it, it has phenylephrine in it, and I don't think it works all that well. One of the great ways to get pseudoephedrine is usually in a combination. You can take it all by itself, but it can be paired with something like Allegra or Zyrtec or Mucinex. I usually try to get the 12-hour formulations. Otherwise, I feel like with the 24-hour formulations with pseudoephedrine, you're up all night because it kind of revs you up. And if you have high blood pressure, then stay away from pseudoephedrine. So let's look at some specific medications on the shelf, and I'll give you my pros and cons about them. At the end of the day, some of my favorites are Dayquil during the day and NyQuil at night, and I'll show you why. My only hesitation with those is that they have phenylephrine in them, which isn't great. Like I said, pseudoephedrine's a lot better. Okay, let's take a look. So this also is a good cough and cold medication. It's multi-symptom. It's got 4 ingredients in it. It has dextromethorphan, guaifenesin, phenylephrine, like I talked about, but this also has acetaminophen in it, so just be mindful of that. This is essentially Dayquil and NyQuil, just with a different name. Coricidin. Okay, what makes this so interesting and beneficial is that coricidin, they promote this for patients with high blood pressure, and the reason why they do that is that it does not have pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine in it, which has been shown to raise your blood pressure, which is why they say this is good for patients with high blood pressure. It's got Tylenol in it, it's got chlorpheniramine, which is an antihistamine, and it's got dextromethorphan, which is a cough suppressant. So this would be good if you have high blood pressure and you want something multi-symptom, but it's not going to have a decongestant in it, and that's okay because we don't want to raise your blood pressure even more. All right, moving down the line. This is my favorite. I like this just because I don't love to swallow pills sometimes. It's in a liquid form. It's got all of the ingredients in it. It does have acetaminophen in it, which I don't love, and it's got phenylephrine, but for something over the counter that you can just buy off the shelf, this is a good option. And then it also comes in pill form. So if you don't want to swallow liquid, then you can take this in pill form. Mucinex for kids, like I said, is just that expectorant that we talked about. This also has a cough suppressant and a nasal decongestant with phenylephrine. The way that they turn this into a nighttime medication is that they add an antihistamine, diphenhydramine, which is like Benadryl, which will make your kids sleepy. They don't include that in the daytime. Okay, thanks for joining me. I hope that helps.